slightly. It's really good, but here they are coming down the hangar straight then, weaving to get some temperature into those tyres, and a little bit of brake temperature as well for some of them. It's a super field. The cars are really engaging to drive. They're very fast. They corner quickly as well. And distinct change between the two types of Radical. The rather bigger SR3s and the very narrow PR6s, a centre seat version of the old Pro Sport car. There's not a lot of difference in terms of lap times, Josh.
Now we're about to get underway. The grid is very spread out, which isn't ideal because it's a rolling start, but the race is going to get underway with about 10 cars. That does not look great, does it? Oh well, let's go racing with the third round of the RML Racing Bikesports Championship, and it's 4 cars across the track, and it's Josh Smith from row 2 tries to come up the inside. He can't do it though, and it's Martin Brooks that leads. Mattel is second. Third is Smith returning to the championship now in his dad's car is Joe Stables, and he's going to lose out. Is he to Charles Hall? Comes up the inside of both him and Josh Smith, and Hall goes third, I think, as he in the Spire. They're still side by side, him and Josh Smith, who had an incident last season which wrote off one of Charles Hall's Radicals, now out in this Spire. There was side by side once again with Josh Smith, who was a winner at Snetterton, did have a car problem in the other race, and he only qualified third, and now he's trying to come past Scott Mattel. Mattel in one of the 1 litre cars. There's a bigger engine cars around him, but that means Mattel's car is lighter, but Smith on the outside line. Can he go right round Mattel here? He can. Fantastic move there from Smith. The top 5 in qualifying, running separated by 7/10 of a second, so I expect this to be a close race. There are still cars coming across the line. The leaders are about to complete lap 1, so they're going to be straight into traffic. Some very slow green flag laps from some people there, Marcus.
Yeah, it's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, kind of it's up to you to keep up with the pack, and they're going to be lapped on lap 3, I would say, at this point. But we've got to the end of the first lap, and it's Martin Brooks who leads the way. In second place with that bright orange nose is Josh Smith, and then Scott Mattel with the red and white. Mattel, designed and built at home by himself and his dad Ian. Joe Stables fourth, and Charles Hall, whose father Bill was a great racer as well. He's up there in 5th, but he was very bold, Charles Hall, through the twiddly bits onto the hangar straight last time round, but then seemed to lose out somewhere, Josh.
At Snetterton, we noticed he's put this different rear wing on the spine. I wonder if it slows the car down in the straight. It's such a big aero device, isn't it?
It looks that way, doesn't it? Yeah.
Can you remember when Tim Gray drove it? Only that little tiny rear wing, which I reckoned at Snetterton it was losing out in the straight lines, and I'm just wondering if he's made a modification to the Spire, which actually doesn't work that well.
Counterproductive maybe on this circuit, where maybe it could work other places.
Martin Brooks going really well. He had about a decade and a half out of racing and won at Snetterton first time out, and he leads again here as they complete 2 laps. But it's Josh Smith going after him. They've already lapping car 8. That's David Graham, who's gone a lap down already, and you thought he'd know better to keep up on the green flag. Like, wouldn't you? He's won races as recently as last season. But through they come in now. Joe Stables going really well. He's attacking Scott Mattel. He raced the SR3 last year, Joe Stables, to win the championship in Class B. Now he's moved up to Class A in this PR6 and going really well, going after Scott Mattel. Mattel, who won all these races here last season, but Josh Smith broke, didn't he? And he wasn't able to race, but they're all being beaten by Martin Brooks, and there's 3 cars in front of them across the circuit. It's going to get very busy, Marcus.
This is very spectacular, isn't it? Of course, we've got these the slower guys at the back of the field who won't know what's hit them when the quick boys arrive on lap 3. Just extraordinary. What were they doing? Half a lap behind on the green flag lap? Who knows?
So this is a 20-minute race. They're coming into the Vale, and they're streaking through. Like you say, they wouldn't really expect to be catching traffic at this time.
One or two of them trying to evaporate on the outside as the quickies come through.
And these 5 well ahead of the rest, by the way. Ash Hicklin's come up to 6th, returning. He didn't do Snetterton. And he's ahead of Andrew Kimpton and Michael Chen. I think Chen's the first of the Class B cars. He is in the production engine cars. It's the tuned engine cars within Class A. And they are the cars up front. Martin Brooks now 1.6 seconds ahead of Smith. Then it's Mattel and Stables here battling for third, with Charles Hall trying to sneak up the inside there of Stables. Unable to do so, though, as they turn through the link for this fourth lap of the race. So quick these cars are, averaging over 100 miles per hour. Yes, very much so. 105 mile per hour average speed there, I think, from Josh Smith. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, that is absolutely extraordinary. And the G-forces that involves in the cornering particularly is quite something.
with Formula One here a few weeks ago, Mark, I think that might make the track more grippy than we would have seen in previous seasons, or was that more of a myth that drivers see?
I think we've had a fair amount of different types of rain in the interim,
Yeah,
from drizzle to torrential. So I should think anything that was put down has been eroded by now.
Brooks now 2.5 seconds up the road. So that's a great effort. Now it's side by side for third. Mattel with Joe Stables up the inside, and Stables goes through. So good move there from Joe Stables. He didn't really get anyone to race against last year as he was in Class B. But now going out in his dad's car, it's a great showing from him there, Marcus.
Yeah, and Joe's driven both cars over the years, hasn't he? And he's certainly got a great pedigree in this type of racing. Mattel trying to go after him. The Mattel car is longer in the wheelbase. It's lower line though, isn't it, for the straight? And he's back in the slipstream of Stables in the black car, number 95. That's Joe Stables, now in third place, ahead of 27, which is Scott Mattel in the eponymous machine made in Southampton.
So through Stowe they go, down towards the Violets. So 3 PR6s up front now, isn't it? Brooks, Smith and Stables. Lap record coming into this weekend was Mattel on a 102.8, but Martin Brooks has just beaten that, a 102.5 Watton. So that's 3 tenths quicker than what Mattel did last season.
With a smaller engine, wasn't it, Mattel had last year?
He's still in the 1 litre car, but now they've moved it into Class A and they've made some more rules, so a 1 litre car can go in Class A with a different weight. So his car's 550 kilos compared to the some cars are 600 and some are 660, depending on how much power you've got. Because I think Scott Mattel didn't really enjoy racing himself last season. So he was the one that wanted this car to be put into Class A.
It's actually pretty heavy. Back in the sort of 1970s, a Formula One car with a Cosworth DFE engine was about 575, I think, at one point, with a 3 litre V8 engine in the back. But these are certainly very, very swift machines.
Probably doing similar lap times, aren't they?
Yeah, they probably are. That's the extraordinary thing.
So here's Joe Stables, still with Scott Mattel with him as they come down into the Vale. Traffic sort of eased off a bit now, hasn't it, compared to what they had early on. So Martin Brooks still leads at the end of 6 laps from Josh Smith by 3 seconds now. So Smith was quicker than Brooks at Snetterton, but that pace isn't replicated so far. There is Brooks then in 99. He was a 750 Motor Club champion about a decade and a half ago, I believe, but I don't think he's done much racing since, so this is quite an impressive return.
Chen in that class leading car, number 91. He's 8th overall, which is pretty handy.
Yeah, at Snetterton, he got a couple of 5ths actually, but the grid is bigger here this weekend.
Yes.
But he leads Class B over Chris Preen, who was a winner last season, I think, within that class. 4 seconds the gap, then Richard Wells is third.
They've got Andrew Kimpton in between them in the 44 car.
He had an SR4 last season, but now he's upgraded to a more modern PR6. And now he's featuring well in the top 10. He had some good results at Snetterton, got a 6th and a 9th there. Here's Brooks out of Club Corner and accelerating down the start and finish line. Second Smith, who's not really able to catch, 3.8 seconds. The gap continues to go out, so really impressive this from Martin Brooks. We've never really seen another PR6 be able to beat Josh Smith, so this is a great drive from Brooks.
Yeah, Josh has spent some time with the OSS, hasn't he, as well, the now defunct OSS, and now back to that car's spiritual home, if you like.
They run very wide there, don't they, out of the link section onto the Hangar Straight. But that's all within white lines, so that's all allowed. Outside the top 5, by the way, that's Ash Hicklin, ahead of Julian Griffiths, then Michael Chen, who we talked about, ahead of Kimpton and Preen.
The PR6, with similar power to some of the SR3s, is a much smaller package, isn't it? So it goes through the air that much better. It's got a much smaller frontal area, so it's quicker in a straight line, provided he comes out of the corner onto the Hangar Straight quicker than anybody else. But magnify that advantage, and that seems to be the case because he's going away. He's now more than 4 seconds ahead, number 99. Martin Brooks, our race leader, ahead of number 11, Josh Smith, in the white car with the orange nose here, who's just mired in traffic, just lapping number 60 there, coming through the link and diving down towards the Hangar Straight.
That was Andrew Gord they lapped, who's 19th overall. So that shows you how quickly they're getting through the pack. Notice we've got Nick Matthews out there, who normally races Heelys.
Yes.
So that's going to be quite a pace differential for him. He's 17th overall, which isn't too bad. Well, I presume it's his first go in a modern car. Well, certainly of this amount of grip, anyway. So 4 seconds now is Brooks's gap. There he is lapping 29 that time. I think that's Andrew Hurst in one of the SR3s. That's the second time he's been lapped. He's at the back of the grid, newcomer, I think. But Brooks has now got 2 cars between him and Josh Smith. Now, is Smith being caught by Joe Stables? I think he might be. The gap was a couple of seconds. It's now 1.2, so he certainly is. Joe Stables catching Josh Smith in the battle of a second, and he's also in the 102s. Joe Stables as Martin Brooks in the 102s. Nobody else has been able to do that. So interestingly, Scott Mattel not going as quick as he did last year, and much like last year, it's very, very windy here at Silverstone.
Yes, this last few days has been quite extraordinary. There were 66 miles an hour winds recorded at Pembrey Circuit a couple of days ago. I think one or two competitors would actually quite like to do 66 miles an hour down there. But yes, quite something.
So there's Josh Smith then ahead of Joe Stables.
Stables is closing just little by little, isn't he? He's not quite in the slipstream, but he will be at this rate of gain. He comes down to the end of the Vale. Yes, he's now very much in touch with Josh Smith in car number 11. He's gaining, isn't he? And there is 27, which is Scott Mattel. A watching brief in 4th place. He's not close enough to do anything about them. He can't quite live with them, but he's edging away from Charles Hall in the vivid green car, number 77.
Joe Stables there in the aero wash, just understeered a bit wide, but that doesn't seem to have stopped him. He's almost overlapping there on Josh Smith down into Village. On the last lap, he was 7/10 of a second quicker than Smith with Stables. 102.84, a personal best, and now he looks up the inside onto the league. Big slide there over the curves. That wasn't an ideal line, really, was it?
No, he was hoisted by his own petard, really, because he got onto the curves, and then, of course, the back end broke away, and that cost him momentum onto the straights. In fact, it hasn't lost him very much. He's quicker over the lap. And I think Josh Smith probably says disappointing that he's not dropped back a little bit further and relieved some of this pressure that's been on. It's all there again. Mirrors absolutely filled. Josh Smith with Joe Stables in the 95 car. And here they are through club. I'm surprised it didn't cost him more, Josh.
Yeah, because he was very crossed up, wasn't he, over the curves on the tighter line as well. Where is he going to be able to find a way through? Of course, because these cars are so quick through the corners, means the braking zones are rather limited. We have got the hairpin at Village, but again through Abbey, Stables' car seems to just wash out a bit. But then he's right there again, isn't he? Through Farm down into the Village.
And Mattel's come back at them again because the intensity of their fight has allowed him to get that much closer. And Mattel looked like he was out of this tussle a lap or so ago. And again, there's a attempt to change of direction from Stables, and the grip on that car seems to be going away a little, and that's allowed Scott Mattel, who's hiding in the back of that trio, not quite close enough to get a cumulative tow. Down the inside, though, into Stowe. Joe Stables comes through.
Very impressive stuff. Josh Smith last season wasn't really that touchable by anybody, but again at Snetterton he was that bit quicker than the rest, but now he's dropped down into 3rd place. Joe Stables wasn't at Snetterton. Martin Brooks was. Brooks was behind Smith in both races, but Smith retired in race 1, so that means he won that race, obviously. And there's a whole load of traffic this battle is going to have to deal with shortly. We've still got about a third of the race to go, a 20-minute race for the Bikesports Championship, the 3rd round of the season. This is, and now Mattelli's challenging Smith. Here he comes. He looks to the inside, can't do that. Hops then to the outside line. Charles Hall not that far back. He's keeping closer than he did at Snetterton last month. He's right there in the ballpark with the lead in 4.
I reckon Mattel, if he plays his cards right, can get past Smith. I wonder whether Smith's got a bit of a problem or he's lost power or something, but Mattel was so fast through Abbey last time through that he closed that gap right down, and Smith is now more concentrating on the mirrors to see where Josh Smith is, to see where Scott Mattel is, than he is to see where Joe Stables is in front of him and running away now, Joe Stables. But he's mired in traffic. A lot of traffic going into out of Vale into Club. Stables trying to work his way, the 3 abreast there, going through the second part of the corner. And round the outside comes Mattel as well. This is like the M25. It's absolutely extraordinary.
Can Mattel find a way through into Abbey? They're sliding up the inside of some SR3s there. But no way through. The track was rather blocked on the optimum line. Then Smith darts to the inside. That's Richard Hardy, long time Bikesports competitor. We can't get there though, so is this going to give Mattel a go? 66, the PR6 is in there too, but now they're down the inside. Charles Hall has caught them now too. So Charles Hall, who, as Marcus said, did lots of single-seater racing back, a decade and a half or so ago, is now challenging Scott Mattel. Right in the slipstream, the Spire now in the Mattel, so the 2 non-radicals in the field are absolutely together, heading down the hanger straight. To the outside comes 77 Hall, but the Mattel is hanging on in front for now. But Mattel knows about it, he's defending hard down into the Vale. Hall, though, still fancies a go. Oh, he looks up a bit, almost running into the back of the car in front.
There was a little chirrup of locked and tortured tyre, wasn't there? But he's on the inside, coming through the second apex, and they are absolutely abreast. And Hall looks like he's got the position, but we know how quick Mattel is around this corner. Mattel making room for himself to try and go through pretty much flat, but he's lost some downforce through there, and he has to settle for the chase again as they come up to more traffic coming down through the link and then turn that strangely cambered right-handed bend onto the hanger straight, where they both run pretty wide. In fact, Hall's car wider than Mattel's. There's the orange-nosed car, which is in second place. In third place, that's Josh Smith. Down the inside comes Mattel, but the door is not open.
The lead gap, by the way, has come down to 2.5 seconds in the traffic. Martin Brooks to Joe Stables, but that might fluctuate as they pass more cars. Charles Hall there dived up the inside of 2 cars, and that really worked well for him because now he's on the back of Smith and he's got a big gap to Mattel. So in the traffic, you would suggest that Charles Hall is a bit more confident. He's attacking more than those around him, and now he's right in the toe of Josh Smith. Smith, who's defending to the inside. There's a car to the outside of them, which Hall just about manages to avoid as he comes to the outside. But is he going to challenge here down into Village Hairpin? He's going down the inside, is Hall, and he goes through, yes. So this is a much better performance than we saw at Snetterton from Charles Hall. And now he's onto the podium.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? He's suddenly come good towards the latter stages of this race. And we've got Josh Smith now playing chaser, and falling back from that group in the traffic is 27 Mattel in the red car. Out comes Smith, pops out of the slipstream of Hall. He's got a much smaller car, that PR3, but Hall kind of knows where to position his car, the Spire, for Stowe Corner. Down they go into the Vale, coming to the end of it, that tight left, and then the double apex right, which opens up partway through. The camber's not advantageous there. There's a couple of cars ahead of Charles Hall in the 77, the bright green car, and they're all having to make adjustments to their lines. But round the lot of them comes the 11, which is Josh Smith, PR6 Radical. He's made it through that group. He's got clear sight again of the man he's battling with for third place in this race, 77 Charles Hall.
3 laps to go, I reckon, of this 20-minute race. Lead gap is 2.3 seconds now. So again, in the traffic, Joe Stables is quicker than Martin Brooks. Brooks has got the fastest lap, 1:02.51, which is 3 tenths quicker than anybody else. But through the traffic, Joe Stables does seem to be that bit better than the leader. Then you've got Charles Hall in third now, trying to lap car number 12, which is Andrew Fido, new driver to the championship, and possibly, yeah, he's novice cross on the back, so probably new driver to race in. He's a bit further back there, being lapped. There's Charles Hall, though, turning through in the Spire. The car that, of course, won the championship back in 2013 and 2015 with Tim Gray at the wheel of it. There's Brooks, though, the leader. Gap to Joe Stables looks fairly equal that time. Now up to 3 seconds, in fact. So I think Stables will struggle to catch the leader, but a great performance this has been. Oh, he has a big lock-up, though, to Stables. Is he going to be able to turn the car in on the road? He is.
Yes. No shortage of trying, that's for sure. Here comes Martin Brooks, our race leader, 99. Of course, being that having out lead of a couple of seconds, which is beyond the slipstream zone, he can actually afford to just take it a little bit easy when he's lapping people. We've seen that Stables, the chaser, has thrown caution to the wind in trying to narrow that deficit, but it's not going to work, is it, Josh?
Charles Hall now is closing in on Stables too. We know Charles Hall's been good through the traffic because we've seen that happen. And of course that lock-up for Stables could well have lost him that little bit of time. There's one further lap to go at the end of this one as they turn out of club. So it will be a 19-lap race in 20 minutes. There's Stables with Hall now pretty much with him in the spire. So in the second half of the race...
See how Hall was using the slipstream from the other car just to try to lessen that wind resistance, get a few more revs, and through this twisty part of the circuit. What do you reckon? Is he close enough? I think he probably is, Josh.
He's right with him, isn't he? So Charles Hall, who's perhaps done a bit of work on that car since Snetterton, and it's absolutely come alive in the second half of this race as they turn onto the hanger straight for the final time. Stowe and the Vale really both possible passing positions, and he's got the tow as well of the lead, the second place car, Joe Stables. The leader up in front, Martin Brooks, is certainly clear. But again, down the straights, Aspire just drops away from Joe Stables, but then perhaps with that bit more aero, able to catch through Stowe corner. Is he going to be close enough for the chicane? I'm not sure he is. As they turn in, no, Stables looks clear, but it's going to be Martin Brooks who wins for the second time this season in the third round of the RML Racing Bikesports Championship. It's Brooks that wins then. Second is Stables, third is Hall, then Josh Smith is fourth, and Scott Battelle is fifth. There's not much really between them after 19 laps of racing. The biggest grid that we've ever seen in the championship, certainly delivered well. 8 seconds separated 5 cars.
Yeah, that was a cracking race, and those drivers will really be feeling it because the forces on them at this international circuit really are very quite harsh, quite brutal. And 19 laps when you're working your way through pretty much constant traffic from lap 2, courtesy of that bizarre start, all the way to the end. Never a moment to relax, not even on the hanger straight. There's our winner then, 99. Which is Martin Brooks. 2 wins then out of 3 so far. Another race for them later in the day.
Class B, by the way, was won by Michael Chen by 4 seconds over Chris Preen and Leon Morel in third. So Michael Chen looking good for the overall championship. Keep winning there in Class B, 3 out of 3. Lots more comments on the live stream. Callum says Joe Stables is the best racing driver to come out of Yorkshire.
Okay, court's out.
And Pert Plays was supporting Leon Morel there, who went well in third in Class B, in I think it is first outing with the 750 Motor Club, and this great stream of cars still coming home. Great to see the Bikesports Championship grow. It wasn't that long ago, the grids were pretty tiny, to be honest, but great work by the club to grow the grids by really 3 times what they were, half a decade ago, something like that. And it's, I think, the biggest grid of sports prototypes now in the UK, which is absolutely fantastic to see. We'll see them out again this afternoon as well for a second 20-minute race. They have 2 further meetings to go this season, Alton Park and Snetterton. So I think every race of the Bikesports Championship in 2020 is live on Alpha Live. Do stick with us. We do have a lunch break up next, but then 7 races to come up this afternoon. We'll talk you through those races, what you will expect to see in a few moments. But first of all, the winners. I've said the winner. We'll see how many more we get to speak to with Matt Suckling down in the pit lane.
I'm intrigued about the assertion of young Stables being the best driver from Yorkshire. I mean, Alan Brown, who we know won the 1951 Luxembourg Grand Prix, he was from Yorkshire, though he lived in Surrey. Tony Dean, who won a Can-Am race at Road Atlanta in a Porsche 908, he's a Yorkshireman as well. Cuff Harrison, the ERA race, Innis Ireland was pretty useful, etc. But probably the best club racer from Yorkshire at the moment, unless you know different.
Thanks for getting in touch with us. Keep doing that. We'll try and keep an eye on it. But the race battle is, the racing is so fantastic, it's hard to watch those comments come through. We have got these breaks between races where we shall try to do so. Thanks for joining us on Alpha Live. Do stick with us throughout the weekend. So we're just waiting for the drivers to make their way towards Matt Suckling. Of course, interviews are a little bit more difficult to do nowadays, so make sure social distancing is happening. Of course, it's a COVID-secure venue here at Silverstone, so all those measures put in place in the paddock to make sure all the competitors are safe here at this 750 Motor Club meeting and for all race meetings throughout the country. So racing will resume in actually probably about 3/4 an hour time, so a slightly shorter lunch break. There were a few delays in qualifying this morning. Bike engine cars are very much the case of the day. Over 70 bike engine racing cars here at Silverstone today, which we think is a record. The first of the winners of those today in the Bikesports Championship was Martin Brooks, and he's downstairs with Matt Suckling.
So down here with our third place man first off, which is Charles Hall. Charles, fantastic race there. You flew through the field. You were picking off people as you went, and in the end you nearly got Joe, but third place it was going to be.
Yeah, it was an interesting race at the beginning. We weren't quite sure after qualifying. We had a great day testing yesterday, and the car was great, but then we found ourselves fifth and quite a way off. So we thought, right, we were a bit overweight, shed some ballast, and then we set the tyres for the race a bit too low, and it was coming on great. So credit to the lads, you know, great racing, fair racing, how it should be, but just a couple more laps. We may have had Joe, but he was driving brilliant, so very happy actually.
It's fantastic to watch. You had some great race pace out there, as you said, and it kind of carries on from what you did at Snetterton. You got a podium there as well in class. You got another one here so far today.
Yeah, we just got to sort of we're learning the car a little bit, and it's getting a little bit better. We had some engine problems at Snet, and so yeah, the RLM lads, they took the car back. They've had the engine done and out, and it's yeah, fingers crossed. We'll just keep chipping away at it.
Good stuff. Well done, Charles. Congratulations on third place overall. Let's bring Joe Stables into the mix as well. Joe, second place in that race. You again carving your way through the field there, and you were trying to have a go at the race leader, but just too far back at the end.
Yeah, at the end of it, I couldn't really see him, and in the first few laps, I got held back a bit, and I made a few mistakes. So it was just a job of trying to get through them all really, and I luckily had the pace to catch up Josh and get in second. But then suddenly towards the end of the race, my brakes started going. I lost a lot of pressure, and I started locking the wheels up, so I had to back off a little bit, and suddenly Charles came into my mirrors, and I had to kick back into gear again. And yeah, luckily I managed to hold that in front and didn't have any more problems, so it was a good race.
Yeah, you tried a couple of times to get past Josh over on the link there, a couple of lockups, but in the end you got it done at the end of the hangar straight.
Yeah, I wimped out a couple of times. I didn't think we were going to make it, but got him eventually, safely as well.
Any changes you think you'll make before race 2?
I don't know, the car's pretty good at the moment. We won't want to change too much in case it gets worse, so might just keep it the same.
Good stuff. Well done, Joe. Congratulations on second place. And let's try and bring our race winner into the mix, who is behind us. So we're just going to pan round and try and grab a quick word with our race winner, Martin Brooks. Martin, can you join us over here a minute, if you wouldn't mind? You did an extra lap there towards the end, but race victory. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. I was really close at the start, and all the guys, top 3 or 4, were really close in qualifying. So I was expecting a close race, but I got a pretty good start and saw some dicing behind me, and then managed to get a gap, and then I just pulled away. So the race went really smoothly for me. And the guys here on my right, RG Motorsport, have been working unbelievably hard all weekend to get me the car just the way I like it, and it's absolutely spot on. So well done to those guys for putting up with all my requests and getting the car where it was today.
You missed most of what happened behind you, because there was some great battling going on, and both the lads, Joe and Charles, were catching you up towards the end there.
Yeah, well, I guess I could see there was a bit of dicing, and I know how close it is between those guys, so I'm looking forward to seeing the race on TV. Yeah, I mean, traffic, we were lapping back markers so quickly. I guess there was quite a bit of trouble in midfield. Yeah. So that made it a bit tricky today. So it was just about managing the gap, and I couldn't see any of my competitors in my mirror. So happy days.
Good stuff. Well done, Martin. Congratulations for race 1. Good luck for race 2.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
There we go. Martin Brooks, our race winner from the first of the Bikesports races here at Silverstone, joined by Joe Stables and also Charles Hall as well. So really good race. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. And we've got more to come from race 2 a little bit later on as well.